subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
So, namaste, konnichiwa. Welcome to the Nupur Tiwari Show. And today I'm so glad that I have another Indian woman and from another Indian origin, definitely, and from another part of the world. And she is none other than Purnima Nath. She doesn't need any introduction from me. Actually, she's running for the Congress. She has joined the politics. My God, what an achievement. And I feel so proud taking her interview here. So, Purnima, welcome to the Nupur Tiwari Show.
Thank you so much. Namaste. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you. And you're making waves. You are Indian origin, definitely. I think first generation there in States, and you have joined politics. And especially for a woman, it takes a lot of guts, a lot of courage, I would say, to join politics in another country where you are not kind of born and raised. And I think how long ago did you move there?
24 years now.
24 years. So if you can just tell our viewers that about your decision and why did you take this step and what is your vision, future
Sure.
vision for United States of America.
Thank you. I was born and raised Nupurji in Northeast India. It's a very small state with a very little population, but with absolutely a little to no development. We actually didn't have at that point of time good hospitals and good schools and things like that. There was one engineering college, the government engineering college. Later on, nowadays it has become an IIT. But at that point of time, people would actually try to get better opportunity elsewhere in northern India or southern India. So that's how I ended up going into engineering and in South India, and then from there I came to United States back in 24 years ago, and I stayed. Basically, my half of my life I have lived in America. And most of my career has been actually in America. In earlier days, I was in corporate America. I would do management consulting, and then later on, I moved into nonprofit. And politics was not actually in my radar at all. It wasn't something that I was actually looking for or even considering. It was an accidental, I would say. The reason I came into politics because I was already working on basically speaking on advocacy related things, and when I was seeing this certain things was moving towards the direction that I have seen in the past in the place that I was born and raised. I started to look into it a little bit deeper. I then realized that this is very similar to how our place became poor, and we were poor too. No development, no schools, everything was government driven. If you end up actually going into government hospital, it was something that nobody, you dread, you don't want to go. That
You're
kind of
talking about United States of America, your state.
I'm talking about where I was born
But
into,
you were
and
born, okay.
and then so I started to see some similarities, things that was happening over here, and I'm like, okay, this is not something right. Maybe we are going into a wrong direction, and that's when I started really speaking out in very vocally, and then I started getting some threats towards me, my nonprofit, and then it actually made me even more curious. Why are they threatening me? So, and then that's how slowly, one step at a time, I came into politics. I started talking about it and actually was speaking on several issues like national security, border security, immigration, education, economy, and several things like that, foreign affairs, geopolitics. And I would be a panelist in TV and things like that. So I gathered a lot of knowledge through that process, and then that's how I thought that in our situation in America today, with open border, inflation is through the roof, gas prices are really hurting us. really hurting the low income, middle income, and also the poor community. And especially in our place where I live, it has been ruled by leftist Democrats for decades, especially for 60, 70, 100 years in different positions. In congressional position, it has been since 1949. And briefly from 1947 to 49, there was a Republican congressperson, but then afterwards it has been constantly under the Democrat hold. So I looked into it very carefully.
So it
There
would
was
be great that if you can just tell our viewers this which political party you are, going to represent.
Yes, I'm actually conservative. I represent Republican Party. I'm also the secretary of Republican Party of Milwaukee County. Our county has been a steadily ruled by the left, which I actually call them Islamo-Marxist Democrat Party, and that has been the constant. And nobody was able to actually, in fact, break into in different positions. For instance, in a county executive, there was in between a Republican conservative person, but it is a non-partisan again. So when I look at the congressional side, it is actually been a Democrat hold for a good part of 76, 77 years now.
Wow. So how is this game politics? Because you just said that accidentally it happened to you. So how is this? Because politics is very new to me. I'm not, I haven't joined politics yet. So how is this experience? How this game works?
Well, politics is in general what I have seen from in my experience from the place that I was born into. I was taught politics is dirty, but I never looked into it as to why it was dirty. Obviously, it was dirty because politics was made dirty because based on the politicians and wanted to just fill their pockets, and corruption would be rampant. And if you look at each person's net worth, you simply cannot make a logical decision as to how do they have crores of wealth and properties and land and things like that. So we were told to stay away from politics. But then when I looked into it, politics is actually supposed to be for public service. It was supposed to be for public good. It was supposed to be for bringing something good for the society, for our community. But that really doesn't really happen in general. So the reason politics is dirty is because of certain politicians who really wants to simply fill their pocket, not really serve anybody. So I actually stayed away from politics for a good part of my life. But then this is actually a very good path if you really want to serve, if you really want to
Bring the change.
bring the change. And if you really you are honest person, and it's very difficult to find somebody honest in a political arena, but if you really are honest, you have to navigate the corruption within the political arena. So I don't think that is going to be difficult. It's going to be a super easy path for me. But I believe that politics is for public service, and I believe that it is for bringing change for the people and the society. If there is a problem, there is always a solution. But for some reason, the political party, whoever has the control, they don't seem to implement any kind of solution. And then I come from IT background, I come from business, I come from corporate America. Can you imagine not solving a solution for those corporate America who actually give you a tremendous amount of funding as well? So coming from that kind of mindset, I think every problem has a solution. It's just the people who are actually implementing the solution, they don't have the right kind of idea in order to solve this. So, and if you look at inflation, 40% increment of the inflation that has gone up for our country. So I believe it has gone down slightly, but then in general speaking, so if you look at it, politics matter. The kind of dresses you wear, the kind of food you eat, the kind of the culture and ideologies you follow in schools, and different parts of the world. If you look at Middle East
Exactly.
versus West
True,
and
true.
East,
But here,
Politics.
one question I have, Purnima, actually, that the many people there, they think that if Trump gets the power, that a visa will be lesser than before, and we'll have many other problems, especially, those who really looking forward to migrating or looking forward to going for higher studies to United States. What would be your answer to that?
You see, from a conservative standpoint, I believe that the way that we have open border, we actually don't know exactly who they are letting in and who is going to be your neighbor, where they're going to get settled, whether they're going to be violent neighbors and things like that. We really don't know, as sadly. So I'm actually opponent of open border. You want to have immigration has to be controlled. It has to be also legal. It has to be right for the country. So that's how I think. I mean, whether it's whichever country I would have ended up in, I would have probably thought exactly the same way that I do now. But at the same point of time, today we have open border. In Biden's time frame, they have let in. They say they have let in 10 million, but then in general, in our country today, you have over 40 million illegal immigrants in the country, which the country have to somewhere along the line have to take the burden of taking care of them. And today the illegal immigrants are getting tremendous amount of welfare on the education, housing, food, healthcare, you name it. But I don't think that's actually fair. But if I look at completely from the local community that I would represent, our own communities are suffering because the school system, even though they have billions of dollars that they get, they're actually not producing, right kind of students, right kind of brain power, if you will. And even if I look at these children that is coming out from our Milwaukee County, they cannot from any angle compete with the Indian immigrants, the legal ones that are coming, or the Chinese one, or the Japanese one, if you will. So I would actually look into that arena in order to make sure that our children are also getting the benefits and they're capable enough to compete globally. Now, to answer your question, is that I don't think any country is looking, and especially American point of view, I don't think we're looking at stopping legal immigration completely, but it has to be controlled. We must know who's coming to the country, crossing the border, what kind of mentality they have for America too. You knowingly cannot bring in an enemy into the country. It's just not that's just not right for the country, the
True.
law-abiding taxpayer citizens. So to answer your question is that it's not actually going to. I don't think Mr. Trump is looking for making any immigration difficult. Our immigration system is already broken. Our immigration system is already in a situation that it has to go through massive reforms, whether it's refugees, whether it's asylum seeker, whether it's a legal immigrant who's coming and waiting in line for 15, 20 years. Nothing is happening correctly. Legal immigrants shouldn't be waiting 15, 20 years for their paper to be processed, and then illegal immigrants shouldn't be getting five-star hotel accommodation, which is completely upside down to me. So I think
True.
if I was in Mr. Trump's shoes, I would do the exact same
So
thing that
what
he
are you
did.
offering to your voters?
I actually am opponent to open border. I would like to work on the reforms of immigration. I want to make sure the people who are coming to this country with the right intention, and also for the right ideology, and also love for the country, why should they be stopped? And then, for instance, if I look at Indian immigrants who are coming over here with H1 visa also, if they come here, they stay here, they buy something, they live in an apartment, they live for 15, 20 years, they don't know whether America is going to approve their visa. But sadly, now you have a company where you might have heard about it, the company named Tyson, they have let go thousands of legal people, and they actually are hiring illegal immigrants. So to me, that's actually not very patriotic at all. That's actually not helping the local people who actually came to this country and want to
And
earn.
that is an American company.
Absolutely, 100%.
And it's an American
Yes.
company. Okay.
Mm.
So I'm just changing a little bit subject. So how connected are you with your motherland?
I think I came here 24 years, and then honestly, I think when I came over here, a few years later, I've realized that the place that I'm in, actually, it was very well. They do a lot of ethnic festivals. For instance, there are a French festival, there is Polish festival, the German festival, and etc. So one day I was just looking into it, and okay, how come we don't have something for India? So we looked into it and actually came up with an idea called India Fest, and we've been doing it for 12 years now. So founded a nonprofit, and that's how I got into nonprofit myself. Through that we do this festival and actually do advocacy of the Indian American side of it, which is absolutely different. There are a lot of misconception about the Hindu community in America. They have some with strange ideas about how casteist we could be and things like that. So we were trying to work on these kind of issues. And for instance, swastika has a very bad reputation in the West, which is a sacred symbol for us, the Hindus, which American people don't know. So
I think
those.
because of the Nazis thing.
Right. Well, they have taken it and misappropriated, mistranslated Hindu symbol and made it into a genocidal symbol. So things like that we are working on in terms of communicating to make sure that the misconceptions that has spread over the last few decades against the Hindu community, against India, we're debunking those now. So I'm quite connected as an Indian American, as in Indian descent in America. I'll continue to be connected to my motherland, my heritage, and I think before me also many have done advocacies, and I will continue to do so as well in order to make sure that the misconceptions against us somehow kept at bay, and we
True.
can
Right.
be we are already assimilated community within American society, but I think we still have that heritage, and as well as a civilizational value that I don't think people know as of yet. So we're working on those kind of advocacy.
Mm-hmm. So, if I ask you something personal, like how is it like being a woman and definitely Indian origin? So, do you find it difficult being in politics as a woman? I'm just from a woman's perspective, I'm asking you.
I think as a woman, in order for any woman to succeed in any field is difficult. It's not special for politics or corporate. Like I was in corporate too, so and nonprofit or something like that. So in general, even if you look at Bollywood industry, it's difficult to break through in the Bollywood industry and get paid equal amount of money in Bollywood industry. So I think as a woman it's difficult for to succeed in any industry. But when I go to any industry, for instance, nonprofit, I was in corporate, or I'm in politics, I don't look at it like that at all. I don't want anybody to look at me from that angle, that I am demanding something because I'm woman, and which is what has happened over here in this country. We have a vice president that was this position was given because of the gender, the position was given because of skin color, position was given because of ethnicity, things like that. I think this creates massive boundary. If I were, regardless of my gender, like, regardless of my skin color or my ethnicity or the country of origin, if I'm capable enough for certain things, I think that the merit aspect of it is completely, diluted at this point of time. If I'm capable enough, I should get that particular job. And for instance, in congressional position, I think I'm quite capable enough in terms of education, in terms of my knowledge, in terms of my insights that I bring in terms of the capability of communicating properly. So if you look at all these ways of figuring out whether a candidate is capable enough, able to do the job, I fit in. But at the end of the day, if I look at from a perspective of my skin color, I'm brown. I don't fit in my my community either. It's if you, no matter where you go, they're all constantly asking for black benefits or the reparations and things like that. I'm fighting even with them as well. How does it matter what the skin color is, or the other status is? If I'm capable enough and I'm able to do something good public for a public service perspective and make some changes within our community, how does it matter what is the skin color, what is the gender? Yes, we're a minority, we have difficulties, and some obviously the folks that has ruled for us for quite some time, it's probably not, they're not going to like it, and they will try to bring us down. But as a society, I think we should look at merit, and that these are something that I'm actually discussing no matter where I go. These are something that I actually want to make sure people start talking, even
Change is the constant process. Change
yes,
has
it
to
is.
come.
Absolutely. And then again, to answer your question, as a woman, it's always difficult. And
I
then
know.
coming from
Yeah.
our side, our Indian side, it's
Yeah.
even more difficult. It makes it even more difficult. But then
True.
I don't think we as a woman at this point of time in 21st century, we should worry about who says what are the challenges. I think every challenge
Exactly.
has
I
solution.
like I like your skin color. I like your shirt's color too. Very beautiful color. So I
I
think brown
appreciate it.
rocks.
Oh, well, whatever it is, even
I
again,
think
I actually tell,
skin color is not at all should be a criteria. It's always talent.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's why I actually tell people, look, I mean, in America today, the fight is between the whites and the blacks. The whites are called as a supremacist, and the blacks are saying that we want a reparation. And they claim that, okay, they were not, they were forcefully brought into this country, so they want a reparation. But after 400 years, I mean, in this landscape where we live in today, I think anybody is capable enough like if you don't like Tokyo enough, you can move to India. I don't like America enough, I can move to Palestine, if you will, just but for the sake of argument's sake. We shouldn't be complaining in the same country and promote so much of hatred against that country. And we're knowing that today's generation has not caused that what has happened in the past. Yes, it has happened. Every country has their past, and every country goes through certain kind of phases. America also went through, UK went through, India went through, every country has that. And that doesn't make us, actually we shouldn't be taking that kind of hatred against the country to, to
Exactly.
to create more division, and this is
True.
causing more division in the
True.
fight between whites and the blacks. Where is the brown like us, who are actually legal immigrant in this country, and what is our position, right?
Mhm.
We don't have any position, because at the same from a broader perspective, we were not born in this country, so aren't we American enough? Because then they will say that, oh, you're not us. Oh, where are we then? Why did you bring us in over here? Why did you accept us? Or for whatever reason, whether it's economic migration or job cases or students and things like that. If this is the case, I, as a brown immigrant, would like to know that you actually don't want us in this country. Then I can communicate to the other people who are actually considering America as a potential place to live in, and then they must know that they're probably not going to be treated equally at all. So these kind of discussion is something that I'm constantly
I think this
working.
is very important for the next generation, especially those who are really, trying to migrate to America, land of opportunity, especially, coming from India, we always think about West, America, UK, all those countries. So I think a
Absolutely.
wonderful, wonderful
Yeah.
discussion. So I have another interesting question that you are born and raised, seeing different kind of politics. Today's India is going through different kind of politics, and back home, in the United States, you are into politics, you are doing it very actively. So, what kind of difference do you see with Indian politics or American politics?
Well, from a constitutional standpoint, obviously both the countries are different, but we're both working on democratical values, right? From election standpoint and voter integrity and election integrity and things like that. But in general speaking, that India and America has a lot of common. I mean, India is the largest democracy, America is the oldest democracy. India has a massive English speaking population, and America obviously has about at the same time America is also going through massive cultural changes. Some population sect of population don't even know English anymore. We are going into more Spanish changes, so that's happening within America as well. Overall speaking, from a perspective of the civilization, the differences in India has a civilization and value, which is no country, I think, at this point of time has, which is 5,000 in a written, archaeological, proven,
Yeah, yeah,
historical
exactly.
heritage of 10,000 years that has been there.
True.
America is only 245 years old. So we can't really have exactly what India had versus over here. So there will always be some differences. There's always going to be some
But the present situation, what do you think? India, America should be ally, like the closest ally?
well, American and India's the relationship had always been strained. From beginning itself, when the state of Pakistan was created, America supported the Islamic State of Pakistan, and India became a democracy, the secular state, so-called secular state since 1976. So, and then when 1971 war happened between Pakistan and Bangladesh, East Pakistan, America supported Pakistan again, and then they sent a massive warship to destroy India's the agenda to make Bangladesh for separating the East Pakistan from Pakistan. But Russia supported it. So if you look at the political alignment, India was always more closer to Russia than
Always,
America,
yes. Of
always.
course,
and
of
and
course.
so I think that relationship will not just break apart regardless of whoever India chooses to work with. But America, as in if you look at South China Sea, or what's happening with the IP rights and things like that, and in the issues, the general issues that we with China, I don't think America as a country can alienate India at this point of time. It's the
Yeah,
largest populated country. We have
exactly.
1.4
True.
billion people in India, and largest consumer base too. So the American companies, whether it's Amazon, Facebook, Google, and
Yeah,
things, they
they cannot
actually have
ignore.
tremendous amount of consumer base in India. So they can't, I don't think anybody can ignore India at this point of time, given the fact that most of the people have internet phones, smartphones in their
True,
hand. And people are actually becoming very engaged at this point of time.
true,
And on top of it, you have youth base, large
true.
youth base in India. So overall, I think India, ignoring India or alienating India is a massive
Big
geopolitical
mistake, I would
um,
say.
yes.
Seriously, a big
So,
mistake.
so as a country, America, I think we should look into this foreign affairs a little bit more closely. We can alienate any country, not just India. But at the end of the day, I think America has a lot to give to India. India has a lot to give to America. So to these two
True.
countries should be working as an ally, not as a foe. So I think, I mean, from a non-alliance policies that India always had, India would work with everybody equally. That's how they have worked in the past from a geopolitical standpoint.
True. So he
You
also, the Mr. Modi also working on that. So what did you like
Sure.
to say to the Prime Minister Modi? His because 10 years he completed and we're going through the election process.
Well, I think based on what my observation is, Mr. Modi is coming with thumping majority. There's no doubt about it, because not just that he has done well for the country for the last 10 years, and I don't think he had a equivalent opponent at all. And the part of the country that I come from, there was no development for all these 70 years, and minus the 10 years that he had been part of. And it was quite enlightening to see that the part that has never seen proper development, proper schools and things like that, they have now, roads built, they now have train station built, they now have engineering colleges built, they're working on transporting, wastage of
India
the
is rising.
rising. Yeah, absolutely. So it's actually good to see what he has done in terms of mobility, in terms of development, in terms of talents and technology. And I think there is no better leader than Mr. Modi at this point of time for India and Indian people. Obviously, election is happening and they can decide what's right for them. But at the same time, I think as an observer from America, I don't think there is any better leader than Modi. And I've been in all honesty, I would think that somebody like him should be leader of this country too. And Trump actually is very similar to him in terms of policies, in terms of building relationship with the different countries. So I think Mr. Trump is right for this country, because if you look at from a perspective of middle class versus and also poor class, they were far better during his time versus today. And your gas prices are tripled at this point of time. The food pricing is you can't just we can just go on this way, that it hasn't increased the price of income. Well, where income hasn't gone anywhere, 1% or so, if you're one in perhaps in corporate America, but then in government you might get 8%, 9%, 10% raise, which is basically very socialist kind of changes that is happening in America. It's quite interesting. Again, to answer your question very shortly, I think Mr. Trump like leader is very important for country like America at this point of time. We have to look at our resource. We have to make sure our people are not suffering. We want to make sure that the relationship with different countries are not falling apart. We're not constantly sending, billions of dollars to save somebody else versus our borders are open. So I think this dichotomy that is happening in America has to be addressed. Our people have to grow, and most of the people over here have gotten everything given to them. They really didn't really have to work hard for like us. Like they didn't have to study in under the candle lights, let's say, or street lights, or they didn't have to drink just the water of rice in the morning in order for them to have breakfast. Basically, you didn't have breakfast. So they actually have they wear Nike Jordan shoes, and they wear Cartier sunglasses, and they claim poverty, and they constantly are actually complaining. So the point is that I think our generation in America today is the weakest, and because they were given everything and they didn't actually work hard to get this kind of thing. So to me, if this continues for another one cycle or two cycle, I think it's going to destroy us, our community, our country, America as well. So I think I'm very vocally discussing those issues to make sure that a strong leader is quite important in this country in order to bring back some common sense to for our
Wonderful,
society.
Purnima. Actually, I learned so many things from you, and this is I think our viewers would be very much interested in knowing more about like what is happening in America, what is like how an Indian, Indian origin, I would say that doing so well. So I think this is just the beginning of our podcast. I would love to come back to you and taking more interviews, so more different subject we can talk about because being in politics, you are enlightened of many subjects there because you needed to know. So I think the youth of India, especially I would say India, would be very much interested knowing and learning about America because Indian youth still the first thing, the first country they want to go that is if they cross the border, that is America.
Oh, but
And mhm.
one quick thing, Nupurji. I've seen anti-Indian sentiment, anti-Hindu sentiment rising in America quite rapidly, and we can discuss about this particular issue later on. But this is quite concerning. In the last couple of months, 10 to 18, I suppose, Indians were shot dead, killed. These are all unnatural deaths, and we don't see that in the mainstream media. And so I would, through you, actually, I would like to make sure that this message goes to the Indian youth that if you're considering America as your home, please do understand that there's something going on underneath. The undercurrent is happening, which is quite concerning. We obviously are discussing about it, but how much solution we are going to be able to find, and how quickly we can address these issues, I don't have any visibility on this at this point of time. But if any youth is considering America, please do understand that there's something going on, and keep your eyes open. Come with your own risk because something is not right.
This is very interesting. I would say interesting, very concerning subject actually. Purnimaji, I think this is it should be discussed, and we should come back to you. We will definitely come back to you because the subject being there and knowing the country, you can just teach us. Especially for the youth, it will be very much beneficial to know what is happening and if they want to go, what kind of preparation, what kind of mental strength or mental preparation they need. So we'll be definitely coming back to you, Purnimaji, and this was wonderful, enlightening for me, knowing so many things. Wish you all the best, and thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Nupurji. It was my
Thank
pleasure
you, and
connecting with
namaste,
you.
arigato gozaimasu.
Namaste.
Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.